Hello, everybody. I want to show you a clip of Douglas Murray in conversation with Israeli spokesperson Adon Levy. And he's asked about why is it that you have climate activists and other social justice activists jumping on the Free Palestine bandwagon. In particular, Douglas is asked about his thoughts on Greta Thunberg getting involved, the Swedish child, now adult, I suppose, activist who has jumped on the Free Palestine bandwagon. Let's have a look at what he says.
No, the people you mentioned, like why are the climate people?
Well, let's have a look. We actually have a little clip from Greta Thunberg, who's become one of the major Hamas fangirls recently. No climate justice, on occupied land. I mean, what are they talking about? How has the question of Israel come to claim such a massive role in these people's psyche that it defines not only how they see the Middle East, but informs how they view every other struggle in the world?
Well, one thing is era of profound stupidity, in which, as I've said for many years, the adults have left the room. An example of the adults leaving the room is the idea that a truant schoolgirl from Sweden should dictate global climate policy. Never seemed to me a good idea. Always seemed to me she should spend more time in school. And the fact that so many politicians bowed to her views on, I mean, I said when she first emerged, people didn't like to criticize her when she first emerged because they said, well, here's a schoolgirl who's autistic. I dare you to criticize her. I dare you. And I remember saying when she first emerged, like, what is this game? If I found a younger person who was more autistic and adored fossil fuels, and I put that person out there, would I win? Okay, it was always a trap, the Greta Thunberg thing. Always a trap. Now she's of age.
By the way, this is so true and often a tactic used by people in these kind of camps. They create the culture of fear and shame. It's all emotional. How can you be comfortable with Palestinian children being killed? You're comfortable with that? You know, playing these stupid straw man arguments, basically.
Age, she's an adult, so and it's easier to criticize her, or it should be. It's always been a bad sign when things like that happen.
And yet I feel that it goes deeper than
it does, but
saying the world has always been mad, the world has always been stupid. Something is happening now.
But a very specific thing. There are times, if you read an account of a time in the Middle Ages where a young girl with blazing eyes came from a neighboring village and told you all you were going to burn. You go, well, I mean, that's a strange sort of thing to happen. Well, here we are in the 21st century with exactly the same phenomenon.
Before we continue with the video, I have a quick message for you. JTV is reaching millions of people every single week. We're sharing the truth about Israel to a world deprived and starved of the truth. There's so much anti-Israel media out there. We need to have more outlets like JTV sharing the truth. Please watch this very short video because we're doing a campaign and there's only 1 day left. And we're doing the campaign to accelerate our growth and have a whole new range of content. Please have a watch. The world is full of lies.
That Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu bear criminal responsibility.
The truth is under attack.
Which river, which sea? So you don't know the answer.
From the media, to the UN, to celebrities, lies reign supreme. But the thing about the truth is that no matter how dark a room of lies, if you light one candle of truth, it can light up the whole room. That's why I created JTV, the global Jewish YouTube channel. We have been lighting the flame of truth on social media. We believe that the key to defeating anti-Semitism isn't just in fighting the hate, but it's about creating pro-Semitism and sharing the truth. There's nothing inevitable about anti-Semitism. We just need to tell our story with confidence, pride, and love. We believe that telling the truth, exposing the lies, and sharing the wisdom and beauty found within the Jewish story and the ideas of Judaism can transform the world. We're reaching millions of people all around the world from all backgrounds and perspectives. Every day we are transforming people's views about Israel, Jews and Judaism. How do we know? Because they tell us. But there's so much more we can do. It's time for us to build a team to accelerate our growth and produce way more content that can appeal to even more people. We want to hire more presenters, start doing documentary series, and way more. And if we do that, JTV will start competing with the other big media players who peddle anti-Israel narratives. And that's where you come in. I'm asking you to please partner with us on our journey to spread the truth to the entire world by donating whatever you can to this fundraiser. Together, we will harness the power of social media to shine the light of truth to the whole world. Thank you so much for your support. So that is our plan for growth, and this is the campaign right now. We've only got one more day, not even. Please click on the link in the video description. We've shown you our plan for growth, and we need all the help we can get. We're going to do more kind of content, more presenters, documentaries, all of that. And we're going to compete more seriously with the anti-Israel media out there. So please partner with us in sharing the truth to a world that really needs it. It's deprived of truth, of moral clarity. Now is the time to get involved. Thank you so much for your support.
It's a very odd thing, this whole devolving of expertise, and what these people end up with. There's an analogy from Japanese culture, which is that if you're a warrior for a great leader in medieval Japan, and if your leader died, you would wander around the land looking for another person to affix your loyalty to. That's what these people are.
That's interesting, because that's actually what Rabbi Manis Friedman was saying on an interview that we posted a few days ago, where he's making the case that people are just desperate, they're hungry for a cause, so they jump to the most available thing in front of them, even if it makes no sense at all. By the way, I'm minded of when he talks about how they create these weird constructions to somehow say that you don't have climate justice without a Israel free world. It reminds me also, they make these jumps with I saw this recently, reproductive justice means free Palestine. These are people campaigning for abortion rights. What? It's just bizarre. I mean, perhaps they should ask Hamas their views on abortion. By the way, Judaism has an interesting... If you want to check out our video on the Jewish view of abortion, we did that a few years ago at a school in London, where we did that Grill the Rabbi session. And Judaism kind of has a slightly more nuanced view than the pro-life and pro-choice camp, just as a side point. But it's also like, you have Queers for Palestine and others, where it just makes no sense at all. And a lot of this, as I think he's right in saying, this comes from an emotional need to make sense of our world, which, by the way, is legitimate, but they're not making sense of it in a way that reflects the truth.
They believe the earth is burning, climate emergency, Palestinian emergency, this emergency. They're desperately searching for things to attach themselves to. And there's another point on this, which is that these people are doing politics by just every issue. You can always tell somebody hasn't thought deeply about anything when they have completely predictable views on every single issue. If you'd have asked me 5 years ago, how do you think Greta Thunberg will end up on the Palestinian question, I'd have said, she'll end up exactly like that.
Of course.
Because she'll get her politics a la carte.
The fact that...
That's right. I think Douglas and Elon are right about this point, that it's just people are desperate for a cause and they go to the easiest thing available to them, and they just try and create these very simple paradigms to make sense of everything in life. Everything is about the powerful and the powerless, and it doesn't matter who has moral virtue and who doesn't, who has the rights, who doesn't. It's all about that. And in the case of Israel, well, Israel is the colonial occupying force, even though it's totally ahistorical and totally nonsense. I think also part of what really they have to oppose Israel is because Israel very much runs counter to the notion that we see in a lot of corners of woke ideology that basically says that people who have been victimized groups, they're very much attached to this intergenerational trauma, and it's going to take massive amounts of effort. In some ways, it's impossible for societies to rid themselves of things like white privilege and trauma and racism and all that. And so we're just going to have to forever find ways to provide reparations indefinitely. But Israel is a living, breathing embodiment of a people that dust themselves off after the worst tragedy and crime against humanity in all of history, and said, we will not be defined by victimhood, and we do have agency, and we are going to make a success of ourselves and of our people. And so obviously it's no wonder that Israel is going to be such a thorn in the backside of people who have this ideology which wants to shirk responsibility. Israel is a nation and a people that say, we choose hope, we choose agency, we choose life. I'm Ollie Annisfeld, and you're watching JTV.